Hi, this is Mark from Altcoin Buzz. We're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart today so we can see maybe what might be happening tomorrow as the week starts out. But before I do that, let me just give you some framework here. We are going to look at the charts and there will be some things that I talk about. I might even explain a little bit, but it's not my intention of really teaching, but giving you more of that backdrop that you need to have so you can understand or not get confused when I'm talking through what I'm perceiving in the charts. So my purpose here isn't to teach you technical analysis, but I'd love to get you interested in technical analysis, the importance of it and how you can use it. But there are teachers out there that do a great job of teaching you the more in-depth stuff that you would need to know after kind of seeing an indicator or seeing how we're looking at the chart patterns or whatever, so that you can go and do some additional research to be able to do that on your own. So I'll leave links below as some of the guys that I think, I've learned a lot from and that teach very well, and you can check them out to get more in-depth knowledge. So let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart right now. We're on the weekly chart of Bitcoin. And the reason that we do this is to ground ourselves every once in a while in the big picture, right? And really slow things down and take a look at what's happening on the chart. We don't always look at the moving averages, but I thought this time we would because they are playing out to be important here. And we can also see how these play on the daily chart. But the green exponential moving average, which is this line right here, is an average of the last 100 candles on the chart. It gives more weight to the most recent candles, but it's still an average over the last 100 candles, the way that this EMA is set up. The red is a exponential moving average of 200. So, and the reason that's important is you can see that there's only been one time, and it was in the infancy of Bitcoin, that Bitcoin has been below the 100 period moving average. And in this case, the 100 weekly moving average. So that's going to be an important level, because if we break through that, and you'll see where this has become resistance in the past on the daily, if we break through that on the weekly, that's going to be bad news for Bitcoin, because now we're going to be searching for this 200 period moving average. I see three potential scenarios here. Two of them are positive. One is not very positive. A possibility of a short squeeze giving us a nice price rise and what the implications of that might be. The possibilities of a spring, that's the Wycoff theory, kind of a spring into another phase to the positive side. And then the third, which is not positive, would be a break of the market structure and is potentially going down and hitting new lows. So let's just talk through each one of those scenarios. Okay, so let's take a look at what the potential scenario is on the short squeeze. We have a lot of shorts building up. That short chart really has spiked up. And so we have the potential of a short squeeze coming in. I could see us taking some organic movement up into this area that looks like it would be the area where those shorts would most likely be activated, somewhere in this $6,800 to $7,200 range. They could be stacked up in there. And so if you had that happen, let's say organic and some of the shorts just closing themselves manually, but then we hit these stops up here and we get a nice little spike in price from those shorts liquidating, then we'd be looking for a retest of this as our new support level. So that could be one kind of short-term price action that we see here in the next day or two. So what's scenario number two? Scenario number two is the potential for us to get a spring from here. Like we talked about the other day on the Wycoff method, you'd be looking for a retest, a deep swing back into these lows and then a quick reaction out, basically just trying to shake out all those weak hands. And, it looks like a bear trap at that point in time. Now that would then have us looking at a potential spring and retesting a higher support level. And if we could continue with some of that and break out of this last high, so past the $8,300 range, that area, we'd be broken through this descending triangle. And if we could retest that as support, then everything is golden. I mean, that's really how we'd want to see this whole thing play out, is that we, have some kind of price action up and past the previous high and a show of support against that previous high. So that's scenario number two. So we want to see how the price reacts to this potential resistance area, and then whether we take a real quick deep swing back down into these previous lows in the kind of $5,800 range and maybe even a little bit deeper, come back quickly up and start making some progressive moves to the positive. Now, the bear version of this is even if we get that potential short squeeze and get some price action up into here, that we reject that and accept that as resistance and come back down and potentially break through this market structure or hit this resistance level and come back through this market structure. And so if we end up breaking and closing below that 58 to 57.50, call it, that area, okay, it's not looking really good. If we have a close there in that range, that's not going to be looking pretty. And to wrap things up, the 100 and the 200 moving average, the exponential moving average, 100 period, 100 candles averaged out in the green, 200 averaged out in the red. If we can make a price play, you can see where the moving average has settled in here to what we were looking at as our potential support and resistance, or first our resistance and then hopefully as a support area for us. If we do break out of that and we can settle in on this 100 period moving average, that would be very positive, because as you can see, since February, we have not been able to stay above that moving average. We popped above it here and looked like we were going to settle in on it back in May, but then broke through the middle of May, and we haven't revisited that level up until recently. So that'd be another positive if we can settle in there. Well, I hope that helps so that you can take a look at what happens in the charts, and if anything transpires overnight, then we'll do another look at it tomorrow. Don't forget to leave comments below, hit subscribe, like if you would please, and also make sure you hit that alert notification so you know when all the great videos pop up from a bunch of different folks, including Maddie, who does a daily news update for you to catch you up on everything, as well as a news flash of the week in case you didn't have time to catch up on all of those. So be visiting us at altcoinbuzz.io to check those things out, link to our social media. And until next time, may all your trades be good ones.